Hello, and welcome to Phoenix Shogi. Today we'll be talking about mating patterns. Patterns are a shortcut for your brain. If you know a pattern, you don't need to read every possible move. You can just know. Like with actual reading, once you've read the word shogi, you don't need to sound out every letter. You just recognize the word on sight. Ayumi Shogi Schools, a Japanese shogi teacher, breaks down mating patterns into 32 possible checks, although I'll be presenting a slightly different idea of 30 mates with some notes on specialty checks. If you'd like to check out their channel, you can find it here or in the description. I've also included a link to a Lee Shogi study which outlines these patterns. If you're even a casual chess player, you might be familiar with a back rank mate. The king is trapped behind its own pieces. Can't escape the rook, or dragon in this case. But this type of mate almost never happens in shogi, because by the endgame, you're likely to have several pieces in hand. And if you have even just one pawn, you can block the rook or dragon and save your king. While not impossible, a ranged piece delivering a mate like this is surprisingly rare. So if not the dragon, which piece is best for delivering mates? King wa torome ni nokose. Save the gold for the finishing blow. In fact, if we take a look at a traditional 2 kanji set, you'll notice that the kings, gold general, and silver general all use the same sho as shogi, the general's game. Don't underestimate the importance of the generals. Due to the up-close and personal nature of these pieces, you almost always need at least 2 pieces to mate. One piece to attack the king, and another to protect it. Otherwise, the king can just capture your piece. Most patterns revolve around which part of the king is being attacked. Atama, the head. Kobin, literally something like sideburn, but localized to shoulder or ear or temple. Hara, the belly or guts. Suso, the hem. And shiri, the bottom, i.e. rear end or butt. Obligatory teehee. With all of that in mind, let's take a look at our first pattern. If you want to solve this mate in one, pause now. Gold to the head. Note that using the silver here instead lets the king escape to the sides. And if we had instead used a rook, our most powerful piece, the king could actually escape, because the rook's ears are a blind spot. In the endgame, gold in hand is worth its weight in gold. This particular mate is considered the most fundamental, not only because you can have up to 4 golds in hand instead of just 2 rooks, but because every minor piece promotes to move like a gold. And so we can actually create the same mate by promoting any of the 30 different minor pieces on the board. Pretty cool, right? With just one pattern, you can checkmate with 34 of the 40 pieces on the board. The next pattern is similar. Ready? Kobin kin, gold on the shoulder, or gold to the temple. This one only works if the king is in the corner, or if the king is blocked by an ally. Like with Atamakin, this mate works the same with every promoted minor piece. And this is the last time I'm going to mention that, so just remember that every gold mate is also a promoted minor piece mate. Harakin, gold to the belly. Note that the king can escape if there's nothing on his head, because of the gold's blind spot. So make sure that that's covered before you start celebrating. Shirikin, gold on the bottom. Teehee. Gold stage, clear! Our other general functions a bit differently. Let's take a look. Atamagin, silver to the head. Note that the king's Kobin must be covered by another piece. or blocked by the opponent's own pieces to stop the king from escaping. Susogin, silver on the hem, or gin hikake, silver hook. Many beginners ask why you would ever choose not to promote a piece, and this is a great example. If we promoted the silver on this move, the king would not be in check, and we would need to shoo away this defender somehow before mating with our gold on the belly pattern, assuming we even have the opportunity to do that. This unique property of an unpromoted silver could distinguish it from simply dropping the silver from your hand. But the end result is the same, so you can decide if you want to put it in a separate box in your brain. Hobin-kin. Like with harakin, the king's head must be blocked or guarded. Tsurushi-kei, hangman's knight, or smothered mate. A bit morbid, but people born before smartphones will recognize the familiar shape that you start the game of hangman with. Smothered mate comes from a very similar chess mating pattern where the king is smothered by his own army and can't move. This is the only piece that can deliver a mate by itself, being both ranged and impossible to block. Knight or ninja? Atamakyo, lance to the head. The lance has even more blind spots than the silver, but, as its name implies, spears through the king to stop him from retreating backwards. Hanarekyo, distant lance. Because of Shogi's unique rules about drops and promotions, ranged pieces have a unique kind of mate. If we dropped the lance here instead, it blocks the dragon and the king can escape. You might be thinking, but wait! Gote can just block the lance with a pawn, and they can, but on this move you'll be moving the lance, which means you can promote it. Or you could just take with the dragon. This kind of move is known as murai, a feudal interposition, and it doesn't count. After all, it would be annoying to count every single move in this kind of position. And it doesn't actually change the outcome. So instead, a move like this would be considered mate in one. Tsuki Fuzume, pawn push mate. When you learned the rules of shogi, you do know the rules, right? You may have learned that Uchi Fuzume, a pawn drop mate, is illegal and would result in a loss. However, a pawn push mate is totally fine. Just remember this helpful mnemonic. From the board, it's all gourd, and from your hand, it's that won't stand. Kobin kaku, bishop to the ear. Suso kaku, bishop on the hem, or kaku hikkake, hook bishop. Hanare kaku, distant bishop. We've seen versions of each of these before. Bishop mates are kind of like a hybrid between silver mates and lance mates, ranged diagonals. Atama hisha, rook to the head. Hara hisha, rook on the belly. Shiri hisha, rook on the bottom. Hanare hisha, distant rook. Similar to the gold mates, but with distance instead of ears, like the moon to the rabbit. You know, because in Japanese folklore there's rabbit on the moon, and the rabbit is Tamauma,
Horse.
to the head. And here we've arrived at promotion only mates. I'm calling this out because you can't drop a promoted piece from your hand. So you'll need to have already promoted your piece, or be mating in the back 3 rows for these to work. Kobinuma,
Horse.
to the ear. Harauma,
Horse.
on the belly. Souma,
Horse.
on the hem. Or uma hikkake, hook horse.
Horse.
Shiriuma,
Horse.
on the bottom. Isn't that where the horse usually is? Hanareuma, distant.
Horse.
All mates we've seen from other pieces before, but this time, all in one piece. If you passed your perception check, you'll have already realized that the close-range dragon mates will all be the same as the horse mates.
Dragon.
To the head. Kobindyu,
Dragon.
to the ear. Hararyu,
Dragon.
on the belly. Susoryu,
Dragon.
on the hem. Or Ryu Hikake, hook.
Dragon.
Shiriryu,
Dragon.
on the bottom. Hanareryu, distant.
Dragon.
And those are all of the named patterns I know of. Whew, that was a long one. This should give you plenty of ideas on how to win your next game. If you'd like to practice these patterns, check out the Easy Tsume and One Move problems at playshogi.com under Puzzles Problem Collections. Mastering mate in one problems like these is the first step towards becoming an endgame assassin. As for the 2 special checks I mentioned at the beginning, they are a Rook unpromotion and Bishop unpromotion. These are pretty advanced and ultra rare in real games, but both are used to avoid or create an Uchifuzume, pawn drop mate position. And come up a lot in Tsume Shogi, checkmate puzzles. I'll talk more about Shogi puzzles in a later video. Check you later. Peace.